Hey everyone, thank you for joining us for today's episode of Real Estate Disruptors. Today we have a very special episode. We got Daniel and Chad Moore and Ryan Harper flying in with Propelio. And today we're talking about the death of the guru model.
I love even hearing that introduction. Like, that introduction just gets me fired up. I'm like, yes, this is actually happening finally.
Oh, it's definitely happening.
Yeah.
If this is your first time tuning in, I'm Steve Trang, broker and owner of Stunning Homes Realty, founder of the OfferFast Homes app, the only app you need for wholesaling. And I'm on a mission to create 100 millionaires. So if that's something you're interested in, please connect with me on Instagram. If you're excited for today's show, please give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. I don't charge a dime for this show. I don't make any money doing this. So here's all I ask. This is what it costs for you to listen to this show. If you get value today, tell a friend. Either share this episode right now, tag a friend below, or tell them your best takeaway later on. That way we can all grow together. And before I forget, I am speaking at We Live in Dallas in March. So I'd love to meet you all there. So if you're thinking about going, register, put my name down so I can give you some dedicated one-on-one coaching time out there when I see you. And don't forget, this is a live show, so please post your questions for Daniel and Ryan to answer. They've promised to be an open book, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going to love this, man.
All right.
I will say his intro is way better than ours.
It really is, man. I'm sitting here like taking mental nuggets. I'm like,
notes.
Man, we need to
It's all being recorded.
Out, man.
It's all being recorded. All right. So first, I heard about you. I watched this video that was shared, right? And it was crazy. It's powerful. It's emotional.
Wow.
And I watched it again 2 days ago. I was like, man, did Ryan film this live? And it's crazy good. But you've had an interesting journey, and I want to talk about that journey. Like, how did it start? How did you get started into it? Talk about that journey with, Rich Dad Poor Dad. How'd you get here today?
Man, 5-minute version.
We got an hour and 15 slated for this.
So I'm going to give the short version, and if you want more out of it, extract some more questions out of me. But I mean, grew up in a rough neighborhood. Definitely didn't grow up with anything on that. Kind of lived a little bit in the streets and kind of moved forward from there.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, just started realizing that my lifestyle wasn't going to get me anywhere, and I needed to be inspired to doing something better. Read books. Through reading books, I realized that there was power in real estate. Went out and bought my first flip at 23. I did not do it in any way that you would imagine. Like, literally, I did everything wrong on that property, and I still cleared a a six-figure profit.
Wow.
And I rolled that money into another one, and within 2 years, I was up to about $250,000, and then I lost the deal, lost about 50 grand, and then I worked into another apartment syndication where I was trying to get an 83-unit apartment complex at 25 years old. Went through contract, escrow, due diligence, and then I lost my KP in due diligence. And so I lost my key principal.
Okay.
So when you're doing something like that, you got to have somebody with a net worth to back that loan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've sourced a KP at 25 years old to back me on that loan,
Mm-hmm.
but his wife got cold feet at the end of the table. So, like, I had money tied up in escrow and in due diligence, and I lost all that. So, like, I went on 2 back-to-back losses, and man, part of that was self-realization. Is I need to educate myself better on this.
Mm-hmm.
So I found Rich Dad Education was coming to town. I'm like, who better than Robert Kiyosaki to mentor me?
Right.
Who else can I find?
He's on the poster.
I mean, like, who else can I find that could teach me all of this amazing stuff?
He's on the radio.
Man?
He's on the TV.
Yeah.
He's on the Facebook news feed now, Instagram feed. He's everywhere.
So I got sucked into that funnel, man, and It was disheartening to go through that education system and see that it's not really an education system. I don't consider that to be a fair description of that system. It's an info sales system. It's not education. It's different. Education, you're supposed to be able to walk away from with some level of higher learning, whereas info sales is, I need to creatively extract as much equity out of your pocket as I possibly can. I'm not educating you. I'm selling you information, and that's slightly different.
Yeah.
And whenever I had the director of education sit down at a table with me and say, "We're not here to provide education. We're here to sell education," and that right there was just a disheartening thing for me, because Robert Kiyosaki was like my mentor. He was my and
a lot of people, right? And that's where, I mean, like, my perspective may be a little bit different than yours, but I put a lot of the blame on the market crash on Kiyosaki, because he got everyone thinking, whether you're a realtor, you're a banker, you're packing bags, you're the mailman, like, you've got what it takes to start flipping houses or buying rental properties. And I'm not saying he gave any wrong information, but around the same time, he was also selling information then.
And so if you've ever been through that, it is theory. It's not applicable knowledge. It's like, you want to learn how to flip houses? Well, let me explain to you how to do a remodel. First, you buy something as cheap as you can. You put less into it than what you can sell it for, and you're going to make a lot of money. That's a wonderful theory.
Sounds great.
But that's not applicable. I can't take that theory and apply it. And so that education system was full of theory. And what I walked away from at the end of that was feeling confused, feeling lost, disrupted. Because if I'm feeling confused, lost, and I can't perform, I'll buy more education. And that's the way that model is set up. And
it makes you feel like wanting more.
Yeah, I'm not trained adequately enough to perform, so I need to acquire more information. And you just find people that go into these circuits, these very well-crafted sales funnels of just sell, and they get trained into consuming because they don't know enough, so they have to buy more and buy more and buy more until they're bankrupt, and then they're done, they're out the system, and they just got a sales funnel and bring more in.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say the irony is we still give out Rich Dad Poor Dad book a lot.
Right.
Because the book
Still
itself,
it's amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Like, get yourself in this game.
Right.
You know, get your mindset right. And the theory, and again, theories. So it's
Rock
kind
solid.
of like, on one hand, we're shitting on all of it, but on the other hand, it's like, well, by the way, here's the book. So
book's great. Just end there.
Yeah, that exactly. You know, again, he does this better than we do.
What you got to do, right, on the back of your book is just put a URL, like a bit.ly for Propelio, right? Propelio Academy, like for more.
Just rip out the back page.
So the Propelio Academy is my my result of that training education system, seeing people being programmed like NLP through and throughout, just to
NLP is
NLP, neuro linguistic programming, like the sales pitch, all of it. I could break it all down now that I'm more educated, from bit to bit to bit, exactly what they were doing and how they were doing. But it is a very well polished sales funnel, and just seeing the lives that were being destroyed there, like the success rate through that program is abysmal.
What I mean, if you had to estimate, what do you think it would be?
Probably around 1.5% of the people that actually go through it are actually successful enough to retire themselves.
One thing he didn't mention.
When I say retire themselves, pull themselves and go full time.
He was part of the Hall of Fame.
I was a part of the Hall of Fame. Within 6 months of Fame. So at Rich Dad Education, they select the students that are performing and actually out there, you know, committing to the theory that they've been applied to.
Yeah.
And you know, I within 6 months of entering into the program, I did pull myself out of the rat race, and I did secure enough passive income to be considered retired at 27 years old.
Yeah.
But I can't really accredit a lot of that to Rich Dad. I think a lot of that just came through. I'm a survivor.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fighter. I'm not going to just go down belly up. I mean, if something's coming at me, I'm going to fight till I win. And
I think
my tenacity.
That's a big thing. So like, I'm a very big fan of like the Stanley systems right now. Right now, that's what I'm obsessed with. And one of the things he talks about in there is IR theory, where your self-identity. And if your self-identity is a 10 out of 10, it doesn't matter what crap system you're in. You're going to succeed, right?
Right.
It could drop you in the middle of the ghetto, or it can drop you in Wall Street. You're going to be successful.
You're going to survive.
Right? And so that 1.5% is abysmal, because you know a lot of people have self-identities that are at 10 out of 10, and they're still not making it.
I think that comes down to the funnel itself, and I'm not going to just sit here and just speak off the whim about stuff and statistics that I don't know about. That 1.5% is my estimate.
Yeah.
I've been rumored and heard, 2 to 3% is about where they're at, and I can't confirm nor deny that.
Yeah.
But on my side, it's because the sales funnel is I'm sitting down with you, and part of what the original sales funnel was, I don't know what it is now, but you go into your free, your free course, and that's an hour-long sales pitch to get you onto the 3-day.
Right, and they'll give you like a sandwich or some water.
On the 3-day. So what let me explain the 3-day real quick. They go in on the 3-day. And on day one, they just keep hounding in and hounding in. When you were in school, your report card was how you knew how well you were doing. Well, as an adult, how do you know how well you're doing? It's your financial statement. And they just keep hounding that into you and programming it into your mind. If you want to be rich, you need to have a financial statement. Day two comes around, and they're going to give you homework. Part of that homework is, hey, you know what? How many people in here have a financial statement? Not many people are going to raise their hand. And they're like, well, how do you know how good you're doing? Let's do some homework tonight. Let's do a financial statement. Let's see what your credit cards look like. Let me show you how to build a financial statement. Let me see what your debt is. Let me see what your equity is. What kind of real estate do you own? How much money do you have in that real estate? And let's take a look at that tomorrow. Well, guess what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is time to sit down with the salesman and show them your financial statement. It's like, okay, well, you've got a credit line here. You've got equity over here. Let's see if we can call up your credit cards over here, double your line of credit there. Let's see if we can take out a home equity loan over here. And between all that, you've probably got about $50,000 available. If you believe in what we've taught you over this weekend, if you're that go-getter that we've been talking about, and I know you're that go-getter, what's it going to take for you to get that $50,000 right back? You know, as soon as you get this, we'll put you in a deal, and you're going to go out there, you're going to flip, you're going to wholesale, you're going to be a millionaire, you're going to be this, you're going to do that. $50,000 jacking up your credit cards and your home equity is not going to be a problem. Let's do it. Right. And he's talking to a 76-year-old woman that's never been in real estate in her life. She just lost her husband. She's a widow. She's scared that she's running out of retirement. And she's sitting there thinking to herself, this is the only chance I have to win. And these people are saying I'm going to win. And you know what? I've got to do something with my life. Boom, here's the money. And now they're stuck. She has no cash. She has no way to invest in anything. She's going to be stuck wholesaling,
no
door
marketing.
knocking. No money for marketing. Yeah. No money to buy houses. No money in her house anymore. No more credit. And don't give two damn shits about it.
Yeah. And so that's what kills me the most about it, right? When you go to those events, is you get all those guys in the back with the clipboards, and they're ready to pounce.
Yep.
Right? Like if it was a good product, people will buy it. But if you got to have the guy hired guns too, because like I've learned a little bit about this industry. Like these are guys that are going to, you know, whether it's Kiyosaki's event or another event, like it's a full-blown service. They collect like 20% commission or something crazy like that.
It's
ridiculous. Like you take the REI Wealth Builder Conference, whatever that is.
I didn't want to drop any names, but go ahead.
Oh, my bad. the one with Pitbull and all the HGTV. It's like, first of all, like Pitbull, I'm sure he's a great guy, but like I went to one just to check it out, and he was talking about vodka sales. You know, it's like, what does that have to do with real estate? And then you have the I don't know her name, but she's very attractive, blonde HGTV person. She's on the stage for 15 minutes, and then she's got her, like you said, the relief pitcher that comes in and just cleans house.
Right.
Like she's the lead in, and then the sales guy comes in and sells the program.
It's always on that flyer, right? It's this couple from HGTV or this guy from HGTV. That's always the magnet, and then they'll talk, but then someone else is going to sell.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's sad, man. It's sad. It really is.
So what got you? So you saw this. So you're in Hall of Fame. You're witnessing this, and then you decide, you know what? I'm out. Like, what was the?
The director of education pulled me into a room because I showed up to an event one time, and it was full blown like FBI style. We're sitting in a room like this, lights on and everything, little round table. He sits me down, we're like this, and he just like lays back and just opens up this little manila folder, and he starts flipping through here, just completely ignoring it. I'm sitting over there, and then he slides it over to me. What do you think about that, young man? And I look at it, and I'm looking at him like I'm freaking out. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And I look at it, and I look at him. It's a sheet of paper from Bigger Pockets. There was a Bigger Pockets question, and there's somebody saying, I went to a Rich Dad Education 3-day event. Should I buy the training? And I responded back, and I said in exact as honest as I possibly could. I said, I have gone to that. I have honestly become a Hall of Fame member through that. And if I had it all to do over again, I would still do it. There's nothing that I would change about what I did because I'm proud of who I am today and I've become successful. But what I would tell you is that the education I received was high-level theory. It was not very applicable knowledge. But I did receive a wonderful network of individuals through this training that became private capital partners for me and introduced me into some networks that allow me to gain private capital. But if you're strictly looking for education, local education from a quality mentor local is probably a better choice for you. But if you're looking for a solid network, but you could probably find that locally anyways, you know, I'd probably not do it.
Yeah.
So he looks at me, he's like, well, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, that's how I feel, man. I'm not going to lie about it. That's how I feel. And he's like, well, I just need you to understand we are in the business of selling education, not providing education. And until you understand that, don't come back here. That was the end of it. We're done.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, bye, Felicia. It's like, all right.
And roughly around when was that?
Probably around 2014, 15.
Okay.
So I was inducted into the Hall of Fame 2012. I'm not good with dates, but I was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
You're still in it now.
No, not even close, man. So yeah, it was around 2000, probably 14, 15, somewhere in that range.
Okay, so when we're talking about the death of the guru model, then like, let's just so for the people that are like, you know, man, I'm interested in getting into this business, and if they make the mistake of like trying to go to an event versus like YouTube University or, you know, Propelio or our stuff, like there's a lot of good stuff. Not everything. It's not 100% complete, but it's like at least 90, right? So if someone's like thinking about going to like one of these guru type of events, like how do they know? Like what are some like red flags that you're going into?
Some of the things that I would clearly want before I went through anything is am I going to have direct access to my mentor? Is this going to be mentor? Let me see your HUDs. Let me see some proof that you're actually doing some of this business. Let me see some of your tax returns. Let me see some of your other students. Let me see some of this. If they're sitting there trying to fill you full of hype, and they've got, you said, the hired gun sitting in the back, and they're trying to go through and being like, for now, like, I provide this service, this service, this service, and this service, and this service all together equals $50,000. But today and today only, I'll give it to you for $997. Come to my 3-day weekend. You're probably getting pulled into some sort of sales program. It's a sales funnel, and I don't want to lay a blanket statement out there like that, because it's not fair to those that are true mentors and true coaches that are doing this. And I'm not against paid education. I'm not even close to against paid education. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for the right mentors. It's the con artists. And the problem is when I'm sitting at the back of the room and there's somebody on stage, the person on stage comes with an implied credibility. They're on stage. They have earned that stage. But is that person on stage a mentor? Are they a coach? And the difference I'd say between a mentor and a coach is a mentor's done it before. A coach knows the business, but they haven't done it. And then you've got the con artist, the person that may have or may not have done it, but their goal is not to educate you. Their goal is to strip you from as much equity as they possibly can.
There's also a level of authenticity. Are they authentic? Like, there's plenty of times on our shows at Propelio TV, subtle plug, like where Daniel will flat out say, look, guys, I know how to do this, but my experience in this field is very small.
Right.
I've done like a deal on this particular strategy. That said, I know how to do it, and here's the information. If you want more, go find a local mentor.
Go talk to Grant Kemp.
But again, though, it's that being authentic and being okay with being who you are. Right. I think too many people, hey, look at my check. Look, I just made $100,000. Granted, I lost $20,000 deal, but I made $100,000 in the check.
Yeah.
It's like, I did a video about a year ago where I just said, everybody's full of crap in this business. And there's truth to that. Like, because it depends on, in a networking event, if you're trying to find private capital, you got to puff your chest. But if you know that, then it's okay. But a lot of people getting into this business may not know that. Right. And they might meet a Joe Schmo who's like, well, I've done this.
Got that fake
here's
Lambo.
my IRA. And all of a sudden, they don't have an IRA no more.
Yeah.
So.
And that is what I'm tired of. I'm tired of this industry being branded off of the backs of these con artists that are ripping people off.
Yeah.
That's not what we're about as real estate investors. We're here to provide value. And if they're not providing value, then they need to get the F off the stage.
Right. And so is this what prompted you to start Propelio?
So Propelio is a software company. So
Okay.
Propelio, it came out of the birth of my own needs within my business. I was in a mastermind with another just insanely smart individual, Nate Worcester. He's also a a real estate investor. We met through a mastermind, and he has a very strong software engineering background, and I had specific systems within my company that I was struggling applying to some of the turnkey boxes of CRMs and software that was out there. And I talked to him, I was like, man, what would it take for us to put together something? And well, that conversation turned into Propelio. And so through Propelio, like we've got lead management, lead acquisition, lead lists. We've got websites. Like if you need a turnkey website, go in there 45 seconds later, you got a website for your real estate investing business. That was kind of unheard of when I got started in real estate.
Yeah.
So between the lead list, we got a Driving for Dollars app coming out next month. Like, so you can go driving for dollars, do comps from your phone right there in your pocket. We've got the Academy in your pocket now. So Propelio is doing the Propelio Academy. For everybody that's out there like, hey, you just crashed on the gurus and now you're about to sell me some class. Man, that ain't no sale. The Academy's 100% free.
I think
we've invested over $1 million into this Academy.
I think it goes back to like, I would say most of our audience, we share a similar audience, probably follow Gary Vee and his whole thing about content marketing. Like, obviously, when we do the Propelio Academy, there is a win for us. There's a way to get attention. Obviously, there's a reason you do Propelio TV. There's a win there. That being said, it could still be 90% in your favor.
Right.
But, we do get attention from that, and we love that. But it goes back to Gary Vee of just give. And when they're ready to do business with you, they do business.
Right.
So we bought all in on that.
Damn right. Like on the Academy, full-blown education, foreclosure training, short training, subject to training, wrap training. We've got virtual wholesaling coming in right now. We've got IRA investing in there. We've got title processes. We've got, right now we're in the beta version. We're about to release the full version at the end of the month, but we've got probably 400 or 500 actionable videos that are step-by-step quality content, and it's all free. Go out there and stream it.
Yep. And then one thing that, you kind of, when you were going through that list, the one that caught my ear when I was talking to you a month or two back was the ability to comp properties. Because that's one of the greatest challenges as a wholesaler. Because as a realtor, I can comp all day. That's not an issue, right? But as a wholesaler, that's a challenge.
And what's funny on that one is like, not to say anything about realtors, but most realtors say, yeah, just hit me up if you have a deal that you want to comp. Well, that's fine, but when you scale your business to where you need to run 50 comps a day, that realtor is going to be like, no. I'm not going to do your 50 comps for you today. Go get your own license.
So if you're struggling with that, go to Propelio.com. And what I've found amazing is that our interface was built by investors, because we are investors, and our interface is so much more, I don't know, fluid for a real estate investor. I can run a really basic comp in 45 seconds to a minute. And like if I'm on a phone call, that's invaluable. Like if I'm sitting on a phone call, it's like 123 Main Street, and while first thing I'll do is I'll ask an open-ended question. And I'll get that person to start talking. And while I got them talking with an open-ended question, I'll just open up Propelio and I'll type in 123 Main Street. Now I know who the owner is. I know what the estimated equity might be. I know some comps around there. I can figure all that out right there from Propelio. So now I'm just sitting there, boom, I'm ready. I'm loaded. I can start making offers right then and there.
Yeah.
And that's invaluable. Whereas like the system that we have in DFW to run a comp, we're talking about 5 to 10 minutes. And whereas with Propelio, 45 seconds, I've got a good value pretty much figured out right then and there.
Yeah. The one thing I love about, and not to get too pitchy, is like Netris in North Texas. If I want to pull a comp on the sold comps, and then I want to go to rental data, I got to redo all the information.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, crap. Do I want to go back to sold data? You got to start all over. But with Propelio, it's just click, 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 and you can go back and forth very quickly.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a selling point right there.
It's amazing how many real estate agents use our product. It's because it's better.
Yeah. Really interesting. So I saw something else. Don't be a wholesaler because you'll never retire. What's that about?
We did that like 2 weeks ago?
We did that 2 weeks ago. So on my side, I've been producing, I do Monday shows every day live at 11 a.m. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing for probably the next 4 or 5 weeks is a show where I'm saying stop wholesaling. You're not a wholesaler. That's what I'm calling is you're not a wholesaler. You need to be a transactional engineer. You need to have a fully loaded tool belt with all of the different strategies there. Because if I show up to your house and you're a seller and you're a distressed seller, and the only solution I can provide to you is a steep enough discount that I can wholesale it, then my close rate's going to be small, because there's going to be creative strategies. There's going to be, first and foremost, the ultimate goal is for me to find out what your why is. And depending upon what your why is, I might need to do some creative financing with you. I might need to short sub to do some sort of creative rentals and or shorts where I can start taking this property, instead of it trying to be an $8,000 lick on a wholesale, I turn it into a $315,000 profit because I didn't just get pigeonholed into I'm a wholesaler.
Right.
Wholesaling is really, really popular because it's a no money strategy and it's what everybody's promoting and selling because
it's the easiest to learn.
It's
what we're doing.
It's a very simple process and it's got a limited barrier to entry. But so many people do that and then they get stuck in that pigeonhole and they don't ever expand their mind beyond wholesaling. So what I'm doing on that show on Mondays is I'm just going through creative acquisitions that I've done and been like, here's what it would have looked like if I wholesaled it. I would have made 30 grand. But here's what it would have looked like with all these other tools in my tool belt. Instead of making 30 grand, I made 300 grand. Here's another deal. Instead of making $17,000 on a wholesale, here's where I made $135,000 using creative strategies. Not even rehabbing. It's just getting creative with the strategies and trying to teach people that wholesaling is transactional income. It's bumps of cash. Yes, you can create cash flow off of wholesaling. I'm not talking about advanced wholesaling strategies because I always hate the keyboard warriors like, you can make cash flow. Yeah, yes, you can make cash flow wholesale.
Right.
I'm talking about what people are being taught. And people aren't being taught cash flow and wholesale.
So what would be an example of something where, like, instead of wholesaling for like 30, I can make 100?
I'll give you a real quick example. I go to purchase a property. It's in pre-foreclosure. It's behind on payments. It's worth $130, and they owe $90 on it, and it needs $45,000 in work. No equity there. So initial thought, let's short. So I go in for a short, and we're working with the bank. We're working with the sellers. We're going on year 1 of the short, still haven't accomplished it. Going on year 2 of the short, still haven't accomplished it. Going on year 3 of the short, Sellers are like, I'm done with this. I'm moving to Oklahoma. I'm done. I'm not doing any more paperwork. I'm out of this. All right, so what do I do now? I've worked this short for 3 years. I feel like I've got something I can do here, but I'm not making a payday if these people stop working with me. So I approach them and I say, how about this? I'll take your deed subject to the existing encumbrances. I'll give you $2,000 for the deed. You deed it to me. But in the deed itself, it'll say, I will absolutely guarantee I will never make a payment on this property on your behalf. It's very well disclosed. I take that over. I then turn that property into a rental. I collect $1,000 a month in rent on a property that I own, subject to with a deed that I'm not paying an underlying lien on. I collect cash flow off that for the next 2 years. That's $24,000 of net income coming in off of that. Then I finally get the short to clear because as now I'm the owner and I've got a POA on the original seller. I get the bank to accept 45 on it, but now that we've gone through an appreciation cycle, this house is now worth 190. I just picked it up for 45. I don't want to do the remodel on it. I'm just going to go ahead and wholesale it from there because I already own it. Put it out there on the retail market for 135,000. That's a $90,000 gross gain right there, plus my cash flow. How would I have ever done that if I just called myself a wholesaler? That's over $100,000 in net profit off of a deal that I only had $2,000 in.
The easiest way to look at it is, and after that mic drop moment, is exactly to summarize pretty much everything we do on Propelio TV is to get creative, and blending strategies. I think too often in the real estate world, everybody lives in their boxes. I'm a wholesaler. I'm a landlord. I'm a multifamily. I'm a this. I'm a that. And everything we do on all the shows across, we're on every single day, is blending strategies. Yeah. And if we really had to dumb down Propelio TV, is get creative. And I don't think a lot of people talk about getting creative as much as we do.
Yeah,
it's like wholesale. Multifamily. It's like,
we're opening up the treasure box. Yeah. We're not holding anything back. Like if I can teach somebody something, I'm going to teach it to them because I remember who I was whenever I was sitting there, no high school education, no nothing, coming up off the streets, trying to make something for myself and sitting across from the table with somebody that's just trying to hold that little nugget back to get me to spend more money. And I'm like, I'm tired of that.
I will say one of the most favorite fun thing to do ever, if I take 10 seconds, is get in a car with Daniel and drive around Fort Worth. He's like, I got my ass kicked there. I got my ass kicked there. I kicked this one dude's ass over there. Like every stoplight, he's got a story where he got his
ass kicked.
Over and over
physically,
and over.
Not on a deal.
No. We're talking about being 12 years old on the street or something. And it's just like
the first time I got robbed at gunpoint, I was 11 years old. First time I got robbed at gunpoint, I was 11 years old. First time I got shot at, I was 13.
Wow.
It was a different lifestyle than some people would expect. But that doesn't mean that we're bad people. We were just taught a bad life. We had a different upbringing, man. There's some things that we can't change about. Like in that video, like the very first thing I say, this is for my sister that was injecting heroin at 14 years old. She's dead. Yeah. My sister's dead. My brother's dead. We were raised in a lifestyle. We were taught a lifestyle where the only outcomes we would have would be drugs, death, or jail. And whenever I got exposed to real estate, man, it was something I'd never been taught, and I grew a passion for it. And then whenever I saw my mentor Robert Kiyosaki, and I went to that, and then to see that it was all just a fucking lie, it just.
But it
still bothers me every time.
I'm glad he went into the story though, because that kind of shows. That's the why. The why is all the people that he'll say it. I don't think he said it today so far, but everybody I grew up with is either dead or in prison. So it's either death, prison, or hey, here's a better life. And is it your quote that it's like, how much does it cost to? What is it worth? How much does it cost?
Well,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't remember how I said it. I just remember saying, but basically what I was saying is, how much do you have to be paid to save someone's life? Really, what is that question? And those kids that I grew up with, they don't have $20,000 to drop on a mentor. But every single one of them, if they're out there, and I'm not going to use this as a blanket statement, but you just said earlier, whether I was dropped in the hood or whether I was dropped on Wall Street, it just really depends on the circumstances I was growing up in. Right. On the streets, the only way we're taught to get out is we see rapping, we see sports, and we see drug dealers. And really, if I can't rap and I can't play ball, well, I'm selling drugs. If I've got motivation, because that's what we're taught. If we just expose some of these people that have that entrepreneurial mindset, that drive to do something better, we expose to them alternate ways of becoming, legitimate business owners.
Right.
I think that most of us want, a legitimate way out. We just don't know how to do it.
Yeah. So this is something I mentioned in a different podcast. There was something in Mac's, Max Maxwell's Facebook group, someone posted like, why are there more black people in wholesaling now than ever? And I was like, it's a very inappropriate way of asking that question. But, I think that...
Because we're looking for a legitimate hustle. And I say I was the minority growing up.
But but the point I think is that there's more opportunities now where that knowledge that was hidden away, right? Like you were saying, like there's only 3 ways to get out of the hood. But I think now we got this education that you guys are doing, I'm doing, and a bunch of other people are providing that, wow, there's another way. And I don't need to necessarily get a college degree.
And I don't have to go to prison to try.
Yeah. So if I'm willing to hustle, there's a way for me to get out of this legally.
There's a lot of hustlers on the street.
Yeah.
And it's just because we want out. We've seen so much struggle. We've seen, like, it's just crazy what we've had to go through to get to where we're at today. Like, I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine the other day, and he's like, we really are going through PTSD. It's like, no matter where I've made it in life, like, I still want to kill myself every single day. It's like, it's part of my life now. It's because you can't go through that kind of trauma and expect to just forget about it, and it just pisses me off, man. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, it's also really fun fun. Hey, I'm gonna kill myself, and then it's fun. Yeah. No, but working with Daniel because I know the first 20 minutes we're talking about people that are full of shit.
Right.
And it's like, if you don't know Daniel, like, hopefully the passion kind of flows through the microphone into the thing, the video cameras. But like, if you work with him every day, you're like, oh shit, that shit's real. Yeah. Like every single day is, and I don't want to say it's a struggle, but every single time we go live, there's anxiety. Every time there's a stage, there's anxiety, and it's amusing now for me just because we've got our little partnership going on, and it's out of love. But like for me, like throw me in front of people, I don't care. Right. Go live.
This dude's a master of just like, I'll do it.
But it's not. But I'm just saying, it's just like being able to overcome that, and it goes back to authenticity. It's really cool to work side by side with somebody that's always just authentic as shit.
Yeah. Well, I think it's awesome, and I think definitely 100% conveys. I'm going to change topics real quick. So I was.
You don't want death.
No, not at all. That's totally okay. So when I first started my show, you reached out to me, right? And for no reason whatsoever, just to say, hey, you know what? Your logo's screwed up on your Facebook page. Go fix this.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, man, that's awesome. I don't even know who this guy is, but like he's helping me. And I was like, oh, let me see who this guy is. Let me see what he's about. I was like, what the hell is this thing? There's 300 people. Like this guy's throwing rock concerts. What's going on here? So let's talk about that, because you're the integrator, right? You're the one that's making things happen.
Yeah.
Talk about how you're putting this event together, because I think putting a REIA together, for me, like I do mine every once a month. You guys are gonna be speaking at it tomorrow. You guys in DFW are doing your events. If someone else is trying to put together an event, whether they're in Houston, LA, Atlanta, or what advice would you give them to try to put an event like that together? Because I think it's huge.
It's so easy. Like, and because we literally just had this meeting 2 weeks ago because somebody was asking for mentorship for that. And I say easy because nothing we're doing is rocket science. It's step one is, what is your motivation for your REIA or your group? If your motivation is to sell a lot of stuff and make a lot of money, well, then you're already kind of against the abundance mentality.
Yeah.
So for us, our whole thing was, we want people to see Propelio. We want branding. And if I back up even further, it was because the old model, there's so many events that just flat out suck. I haven't been to your event, so I'm not talking about yours.
It's amazing.
But it's like, as a vendor, you get tired of spending hundreds of dollars going to events that you're not getting sales, you're not getting enough people. Like, hey, there's going to be 800, 1,500 people, and there's 12. So with us, it's like, well, hell, we can do our own event. Okay, cool. So we're like, okay, what are the things that we like? What are the things we don't like? And what we like is a lot of people. We like a lot of fun, and we don't like a lot of sales from stage. So the biggest rule that we have in our events is there's no sales from stage. And when we're talking about the DFW event and the big ones that we throw, we're actually starting to launch a new type of thing like we're doing here in Phoenix next couple days. But for like DFW, none of the speakers that are ever up there they're never paying to be there, and they're not allowed to sell anything. And then that's a completely different area than where our vendors are. Our vendors sell all you want. Yes, sir.
And for them to even get on stage, they have to provide true content. They can't just get up there and talk, and by the end of a 2-hour thing, just be like, well, I've given you some ideas. If you're getting on our stage, you have to drop bombs. There is no accepting less than a bomb. Like, it needs to come.
And we keep it varied. Like, not once has our agenda been the same. Sometimes we've had kind of like the TED Talks. Sometimes like this next one, we have 2 1-hour speakers and 1 15-minute speaker. You know, so we change it up. But we have live DJs, we have Chick-fil-A, we have open bar. Our open bar is like legit. Like Daniel doesn't like it at times because he's like, "Why the
$4,000 on alcohol?
Why are we buying all these people booze? They don't subscribe to my software." And I'm like, bro. I mean, the cool thing about our event in DFW right now is, and we can wrap this up and move on, but is the fact that the people that come, you have.
I'm sorry.
There's cameras.
My bad. I wanted another water.
Is like you literally have 3 classes of people. You have the beginners that you're always going to get every event. You have the intermediate people that are actually out there ground the pavement. But then you got legit experts.
We got real Lambos pulling up.
We literally have Lambos. I mean, Will Crozier, who's a multi-million-dollar apartment investor, DJing our events.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just stupid. So our events really are stupid.
Yeah.
And we average about 400 to 600 people. And and I know that was a long-winded way of saying, because you asked how do you do it. It's just work. It's having the right message, having the right motivation. And then my biggest thing is fear of failure. You know, like somebody commented today about marketing for our Phoenix stuff. Man, y'all are really good at marketing. I'm like, I don't really call it marketing. I call it being afraid of failing. Yeah. You know? So like, you know, we average 400 to 600 people at our event. But I typically average about 800 to 1,200 sign up. So, you know, and as a vendor, you're like, all you care about is butts and seats.
Right.
So, but as far as the secret sauce, there is no secret sauce. It's just a lot of work and having the right motivation.
Midnight every single day, up at 6 a.m. up till midnight for the 2 weeks coming up to the event. Like, you can tell as an event's coming up because Ryan just starts doing this. He's just like, you know, he just starts going into event mode, and it's just like every 5 minutes, hey, we're doing an event. Hey, we're doing an event. Tag. You're coming. Hey, I saw you.
That's a good, you know.
It never stops.
That's a good tip that I value add to anybody watching. If you are wanting to do an event, and I made this up out of necessity. I won't go into full details of the origination. Is when we first were going to do an event, my assistant at the time, I had her. This is actually a funny story. I had her research all the events in DFW for the next 2 months, and she put all of them in a calendar. I was like, cool, May 12th or whatever it was, May 7th. That's when we're going to do our event. All right, cool. So we start planning it, and we're also doing a couple events in San Antonio and Houston. So I was like, 80% my mind focus is going to be on San Antonio and Houston. When those are done, I'll 100% it on DFW. One Friday night, a potential vendor's like, hey, you know, that's the same night as the other big event in the area. And I was like, I was so pissed off at my assistant. I was like, what the hell? So I looked up, nothing on Google. I go to Facebook, nothing on Facebook. Go to their website, nothing there. They had not put their event out there at all because they were about to do their other event. They hadn't done that month. They haven't done the April month yet. So I'm looking at the calendar. I'm like, I've got 4 days to just blitzkrieg the hell out of Facebook. So what I started doing,
because we're going to head with the incumbent there. Like, that was the big boy in town.
And I actually created that event too. But anyway, years ago. So literally, I have 4 to 5 days to make an impact.
And that was our very first event.
It was our very first event in DFW. And what I did, and this is the value I'm getting at, is I had about 200 people signed up at the time. I went to every single one of them, and I added them as a friend on Facebook. If they weren't a friend on Facebook, I added them. If they were a friend on Facebook, I went to their page. I said, hey, at Steve Trang, thank you so much for signing up for the at DFW Real Estate Investor Meetup. Hope to see you there. And I did that for every single one. And every time somebody signed up, I shared it to their page.
So that's 400 registrants.
Yeah. So every single person that registered for our event, they got either a friend request from me, and then they got a posting of me sharing it to them. So what I then did is, and I hope nobody from DFW is watching.
I'm sure there's a few DFWs in there.
Is I basically trained our audience to say it's okay to share our events. Mm-hmm. So anytime our event, like you'll see it if you follow the DFW people in the next couple of days, like the amount of Facebook, I mean, if you just go to our Facebook page right now, 400 people going, 300 people interested. Like most real estate investor events don't have that level of engagement on Facebook.
It's the environment that we've built.
And it's the community, but it started with that little nugget I just dropped of just add everybody and be social and don't be afraid to reach out. And that takes a lot of freaking work. I mean, can you imagine 400 posts?
Nope.
And every single, and it's not a bot. Every single one's different.
Yeah.
Because if it is the same, Facebook locks you out.
Yeah.
And so to add to that, the very first event that he ever put on for us here at Propelio, the rest of the REIA circuit in DFW went to crickets. Like literally that night, because we did go up against some other clubs that night, there were people at those other clubs, Facebook Live, like, man, it's dead in here. Like, what's going on? Like, this is normally 300 or 400 people. What happened here?
And I'm not proud of it, but that event, and to be clear, the only reason we were head-to-head that night was because we had no idea that event. We would have never gone. I was going for no competition because I wanted every single person there.
Yeah.
And
we weren't trying to split the crowd.
I wasn't trying to shut REIAs down, and that REIA shut down 2 months or a month after.
Yeah. Well, I think we got one of those going on right now. So in our market. So it's interesting to see. It's like,
but I mean, again, abundance, best of luck to everybody. That's what we're like. You said, like, reach out to you. Hey, man, your logo's kind of whatever.
Right.
You know, trying to help each other out.
Like, who the heck is this guy? But thank you.
Dick.
So let's talk about your first deal. So you said you did a lot of things wrong.
Oh, man. More than a lot of things wrong. Like I said, man, you want a 5-minute story, you want a half-hour-long story, but
5 minutes story.
We got so much content. Go 5.
Right.
I'm going to give you a real, very quick rundown. I'm 23 years old, no education whatsoever, construction worker making like $12 an hour. Driving through on my lunch break on construction, see a garage sale sign, turn down the street, boom, see opportunity. I've read books. I'm like, man, I can make money on this street, but I don't know anything. So there's a realtor sign in the yard. I call up the realtor and I'm like, hey, I want to buy this house. And he's like, well, are you pre-qualified? I was like, no. He's like, are you working with an agent? I was like, no. And he's like, all right, well, I'll be your agent and call this lender. And if you can get pre-qualified, I'll hook you up with a loan or I'll write an offer for you. So that's literally like how the process goes. I call up the mortgage lender and they're like, yeah, you're qualified for like a $75,000 loan. I wasn't making a whole lot of money, but $75K loans, 2007 fog of mirror time.
Yeah.
So I go through the underwriting on the loan side of it, and they're like, all right, I put in the offer, I get the offer, $43,000, I believe is what I'm paying for this thing. It's on the tax rolls for like 84, so I'm like, that's my due diligence. That's my due diligence, literally. It's like, all right, it's on the tax rolls for 80-something, I can buy it for 40-something. I know how to swing a hammer. I'll fix this house myself. All good, man. I get the contract accepted. I think I'm about to buy this house. They send out an inspector, and the inspector's like, well, to get this loan, you're going to need windows, you're going to need a hot water heater, you're going to need electricity, you're going to need plumbing, you're going to need a roof, you're going to need windows, you're going to need doors.
So it's missing a few things.
It'd been completely vandalized. All the copper had been stolen out of it.
This is wintertime, too,
It was
right?
the middle of winter. The pipes had busted. There was flooded on there. It was molded. It was just all kinds of stuff. I
specialized on those properties back in the foreclosure days.
So if you're talking about conventional loans or whatnot, it's not meeting lending standards. I got a 103% loan for this house, 100% of the purchase price plus 3% of the closing costs. Very, very just like, so I get the inspection and it comes back, it's like prior to closing we have to have plumbing, electrical, hot water heaters, electric panels, roofs, windows, all this stuff. And the lender's like, that's all got to be done before we can buy it. And I'm sitting here like, well, I'm 23 years old, I have no money in the bank, and I can't pay. So I completely and totally ditched the lease that I'm living in. I'm in a rental because that was a 45-minute drive from the rental to this house. And I literally, in the middle of dead winter, I grabbed a Coleman lantern and I lived in the hot water heater closet of this house while I was in escrow to purchase it. I moved into the hot water heater closet with a Coleman lantern because that Coleman lantern would keep me warm.
Yeah.
And I lived in that damn closet for the next month, and my father lived there with me. We both moved into that house, and just every single day, I'd get up at about 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd go to work early. I'd take a shower in the sink at the bathrooms at work. And that's where I'd wash my clothes. And then at the end of the job, I'd get off at 5 o'clock and I'd go back to that house and I'd start fixing electrical problems. I'd start fixing plumbing problems. At that point in time, I'd already had a decade of construction experience. I was a full-time employee as a construction worker at 13 years old. I had to drop out of high school. I didn't have much of an option. So over the next 30 days, I remodeled that damn house. Me and my dad remodeled that house. It didn't look beautiful, but everything that was on that inspection report was done. The electrical was working, the plumbing was working, it had a roof, it had all this other stuff, lots of stuff going on there that we're not getting elaborated into. But by the time it was said and done with, I finally got the loan closed at 103% financing. I then immediately after purchasing the house, because I did all those renovations, turned around, went out and got a home equity loan. Our home equity loan gave me about $18,000 in capital because the appraisal came back at 76 and I just bought it at 43. So I had enough equity there. I took out like an $18,000 loan, used that money to buy some air conditioning systems, convert a garage, and then start building it up. It took me 2 years, paycheck to paycheck, to fix that house. But when I turned around and sold it, I cleared $100,000. And for somebody that grew up in the streets without any background in that kind of stuff, $100,000 was not something I'd ever seen before. So that changed my life.
A couple of things he missed in the story, just because I think they're fun. Well, first off, don't do that. If you're watching this, that is not a how-to on how to do this business. Do not do that.
I remodeled somebody else's house.
How-to on your first deal.
Yeah, don't do that. But the part he left out was the appraiser came back after he had fixed everything up and was like, yeah, but the appraisal, I've already failed you before. So you want to elaborate on that? Because I think that's a good point.
So I left that out because it can be a little longer. But so the inspector came out, inspected the house, and said, you need windows, a front door, a roof, the basic necessities to even consider this a house and not just shambles. So I go through and I'm like down to the last week of escrow. And I'm beat, man. Like literally 100+ hours a week working. Just I'd come home and work till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe get an hour of sleep, go take a bath in the sink at work, and it was rough, man. But I put it in, and I get to the end. I've got everything that's on that inspection report going, and the inspector comes back out to the house. So my lender calls the inspector back up and he's like, we're good for a reinspect. And he comes back out there. And I remember, man, it's some bougie little 20-year-old wearing like Gucci glasses, driving his Mercedes Benz, and I'm just like throwing the double ups. And he comes in, man, and he's just like got his nose up in there because it was bad in there. I mean, there's feces on the ground, crack pipes, needles. It was not a good house by any means. And when I say remodel, all I did was fix the inspection report.
Yeah.
I go through and I do all that, and he walks the house, and I clearly remember him saying, he's like, well, everything on the inspection report's been done, but I sure as hell wouldn't want to live here. I need to see all your permits. Boom. Like I didn't call. At that point in time, I'd been an electrician for close to 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. My father had a big background in plumbing and then roofing. It's like I don't got permits, man. Like this is my house. Like I didn't know I needed permits to work on my own damn house. And he's like, well, it's not your house. It's the bank's house, because it wasn't. And if you're doing work on somebody else's house, you have to have permits. He's like, I'm not passing you until you get permits. And like I've got 3 days left to close, and it's like I call up all my friends and like, even if I could help you right now, it's not possible. I can't get permits pulled on this house in that amount of time. He's like, I've got faith in your work. I've worked beside you for 10 years. I know you know what you're doing, but I can't get you permits. So I'm sitting there like, man, I had to borrow $3,000 from my uncle to buy some of the materials just to get this going. And at that point in time, like $3,000, I might not even get to see that on my tax return. So I'm like, man, I'm just lost, man. I'm like, I bailed on my lease. I'm homeless now. I'm living in a damn hot water heater closet of an REO, and I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
And here's where the getting creative, this next part of the story, and this is the biggest nugget of that story for anybody watching in your audience.
So I'm just like brainstorming it, man. I'm like just hitting the gray matter hard. Like, what am I going to do here? I'm not going to be homeless, man. I'm not going to do this again. I'm going to win. And I get on the phone with the lender. And probably 5 times a day, like, hey, and there's like, she's like, man, we all told you up front this was a risk, man. We were all rooting for you, but I'm sorry, Daniel. Unfortunately, you're taking a loss on this one. And I'm just like, bam. And it's finally the day before, and I call her up, and yet again, man, I'm just on the phone with silence with her, and she's feeling bad for me because she knows how passionate I am and how much I said I was gonna do this. And she's just sitting there letting me wallow in my sorrows. And she said something, I forgot what it was, and she was like, whatever it was, it spurred a thought process in my mind, and she used the word hire, and she was referencing that inspector. And I was like, I think she was listing off my expenses that I was into it with her for, and she's like, the $300 inspection. I think she's trying to figure out how she could return me some money. And as soon as she said the $300 that I had to pay for the inspection, because I remember doing that, I wrote the check for the $300 for the inspection, and I was like, hold on a second. I paid $300 to hire that inspector, right? And she was like, yes, Daniel, you did. And I'm like, just sitting there, and I'm like, could I just pay $300 and hire a new inspector? And she went dead silent for a second. And she's like, well, Daniel, I'm not going to say yes or no, but if you get me a $300 check, I'll see if I can get you an inspector out there real fast. So I gave her $300. She got a new inspector. He came out there. He walked the house. He said, put in the stove and you can have the house. And so the very next morning I closed on that house. It cost me like $350 to close on that house. I had 103% financing.
Yeah.
And that's how I got my house. That's how I got my first house.
Yeah. And the thing about that is like it goes back to that theme of getting creative.
Right.
It's like that stupid little thing could have cost him his whole career in this business, because he probably been like, screw this. Yeah. I'm gonna selling dope is easier than this crap. And and just getting creative. And it's something that even this woman, she'd been doing this, that's her career, and she never even thought about that. Mm-hmm. So that's what's really cool about working with Daniel and his brain.
Just never let an obstacle get in your way, man. You've got to go over, under, or through, man. And that's where I see people, they're like, your why has to be bigger than your fear. When I see people that are educated and well-educated that are not able to perform on this, it's because their fear is bigger than their why. Something is stopping them from becoming who they can become. And until your why is bigger than your fear, you're not going to be successful with this, man. You've got to be willing to go out there and give it 110% and just have that mindset that either I win or I die. There's no choice in between.
Well, I know we kind of danced on it a little bit, but, I mean, can you articulate what exactly your why is?
My why is my past, man, my family now. But I mean, my sister was my rock for a long time, and man, I saw what happened to her life, man. That needle hit her arm, and that was done. And then my brother, no love lost with that man, but he's dead. My father, man, he got addicted to Oxycontin when he got into his wreck. I'm 14 years old watching my dad popping pills, just like boom, boom, hydrocodone, then it goes to Oxycontin, then it goes to crushing down Oxycontin, and then it's just like, man, the damn pharmacy's addicted my father to this crap, and like here I am 14 years old trying to figure out how to survive, how to live, and it's just like, we deserve something better than that damn struggle. Mm-hmm. It's just we are good people that have been served a bad deck of cards, and I'm tired of being the ones getting stepped on.
And on top of that, is Daniel's fairly private, but all unprivate for him, just because that's why I'm here. His why really is his wife and his two girls. Yeah. Because he says it's at least once a month. He's like, man, and it. Like, if he didn't have his family, he would be in so much trouble. He would be doing some stupid stuff. He'd be getting fights. He'd be getting dead. He'd be doing some stupid ass stuff. I love it, but I know it. I know it.
We had a loudmouth last month, man. He would have caught something.
But again, it's like, so I think the biggest why is, yes, the past, but the his girls. So.
Yeah, man, I got two lovely baby girls. They probably watching right now. Tyler and Zyla, love you both. My wonderful wife, Miranda, man, thank you for being my rock. Thank you for supporting me through this. I know it's been tough. There's a lot of times where I don't come home. I'm working 18-hour days, and it's just like, it's my why. My why is bigger than anything. So for those that are out there, it's like, if your why ain't big enough, man, step out now.
That's facts right there. So how much wholesaling are you doing right now?
Really none.
Yeah?
Really none. I'm not going to sit here and try and pretend like I'm one of those no-HUD gurus and stuff. I've hit the streets in the past. I've done my stuff, but I've found a way to help far more people, and it's not centered around my bank account. It's not centered around me. It's Propelio. It's Propelio Academy. It's providing resources to thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that never had an opportunity. That is a far bigger why for me than going out and making me another $100K lick on a house. I mean, I've made enough money. I don't need to be a 100 millionaire. I mean, I'm good. I want to see others succeed, and that's far more important to me than any real estate deal will ever be. And the more focus I can put on helping others, the happier I'm going to be. Awesome.
What were you going to say?
I was just saying, as far as the wholesaling goes, with Propelio, there's no market. You can't market, because we, I don't know if we're going to get into
I mean, like, I'm not even going to get into that, but no matter what,
It's a conflict of interest.
Like, So on that side, like I've got some commercial investments, I've got some office industrial parks, and I might expand upon that. But as far as single family real estate investing goes, my focus is going to be Propelio and enriching the lives of others. I mean, there's nothing more that I could say on that level other than I need focus. And you know what? Everything I can do to enrich other people's lives is where I'm going.
Okay. I think that's powerful. What is your biggest struggle right now?
Oh man, time. Just time, man. It's incredible to see what we're doing, but it's also incredible to see how much effort this was going to take. Like, I mean, my biggest struggle is time. Like, I mean, there's a million things that we need to do at any given point in time, and only 3 of them can be done. And for me, I think, I'm not going to say that's where a lot of my depression comes from, but I struggle daily with a massive amount of depression, and a lot of that just comes from, man, it's just, it's a gigantic mountain, and you just got to keep climbing. There is no giving up in it. It's no matter how I feel, I've got people depending on me, and I got to go. You know,
on my front, it'd be perspective and patience. You know, perspective going from where we started this journey of Propelio Academy, Propelio TV, and just realizing that you went from 0 to where we're at now. Like the consistency, like we were talking about before we started, like the consistency of how many people actually tune in to watch our stuff. And we don't really have these huge spikes. Like there's more people watching right now than we've had on a typical stream in a long time, but we consistently have fairly a good turnout come out. So my struggle is remembering to have perspective of going, the first time we went live, Miranda at the very end of it, because we didn't realize the whole lag thing, like we're just with Joe Boston, a local Dallas REIG, shout out to him, you know, we're just shooting the shit, and Miranda's like, "Shut up, you're still live," and we're like, "Oh crap!" So we deleted the video because we didn't know what we were talking, we didn't know what we were saying behind, you know. So, but again, so the perspective of when the first time we went live, the only person watching was Miranda, to now every single time we go live, new people find us, and we love that. And the patience is just knowing that, you know, the amount of content, the value of content, because the reviews we get, the comments we get, the amount of love we receive, it's like having patience to go, why isn't 1 million people watching this stuff? Like you want to be like, what? Where's our tipping point? Where's our windfall? And it's just having, for me personally, is being patient enough and having perspective enough not to get caught up in, man, I wish I had 1,000 people watching. I wish I had 1 million views.
So I've got the same exact problem, right? So perspective, like if you told me when I started this podcast that I'd be doing, you know, with the amount of viewership and support that I have today, wouldn't have believed you. Would not have believed you. At the same time, I've got the same feedback, like, man, I love your stuff. I wish more people found out about it. I was like, then why the hell is Bigger Podcasts doing better than me?
Borrowed land.
Borrowed land.
That's where we're going. We're not borrowing land anymore.
What does that mean?
Borrowed land. It's content marketing, and you know, content marketing is exactly what we're doing now. We're just trying to provide value to the audience, and hopefully through our content marketing, somebody's going to reach out and do business with you. Somebody hopefully reaches out and does business with Propelio. That's content marketing at its finest. Borrowed land applies to if this content is right now housed on Facebook. Facebook, we don't own Facebook. That's their land. And at any given time, they can change algorithms. They can change whatever the hell they want to change. So
I know this pain.
Yeah, we do too. We can go into it here in a second. So, but you know, the borrowed land that's their content. That's their land. YouTube, same thing. YouTube, we're finding out, is better metrics than Facebook for us.
Massively better.
Massively better. And we're pushing that direction. But at the end of the day, it's still borrowed land. So and again, we're real estate investor people first, and all this content stuff second, and the video stuff. That's why we had to hire Travion so he could show us what the hell to do.
Travion's the badass behind the camera.
And
Travion Young,
so it's blogging. It's like having that content on your own website, having all that stuff in your own house. Therefore, it's not, you're not borrowing land from somebody else that can change the game. So for us, when we first started this adventure, it was probably September, the Propelio TV stuff, September 2017. with the one viewer of Miranda Moore. By January, February, we were getting average 50 to 85 people every single time tuning in. And then into first quarter, that algorithm hit. And we've never recovered. We have never gotten as many people watching as we did back in early 2018.
So we're outfitting our own platform now.
And Chris said the same thing too. Chris Onivero said the same exact thing. So I can tell you, like, my own personal story was that I was doing all my own SEO. So back many years ago, before Panda and Penguin, like, I was doing all my SEO, and I was ranking for all the Tempe keywords. Like, if you were Tempe homes for sale, Tempe houses, like, it was my website. And then Panda rolled out and Penguin rolled out. Then I was dead. Like, all of that SEO, I went from white hat, because this was like the approved tactics, and they decided all the white hat was now black hat, and it was just dead.
So we're building our own land now.
Yeah. Speaking of keywords, though, and this is exciting, and this is from, again, going to the abundance. Like, you know, I helped you with the logo.
Yeah.
But too, buddy, I got from you.
Yeah.
You know, because we were I don't know if that's where I got it from, was from Steve.
We love to, buddy.
So keyword ranking, like sub 2 investing, sub 2 real estate investing, like, I don't know how, but we rank in the YouTube.
Like 5 of the top 10 we rank for.
Yeah, like real estate investing, you're never going to find Propelio.
Yeah.
But like the niche of sub 2, I'm like, we're dominating. It's really exciting to see that, especially that.
I can give you one tip. I don't know if this is actual the tipping point, but once I started renaming my files by the keywords.
Oh, before you upload?
Before I upload.
Well, everything we do is live.
Yeah. Okay. So I upload the file. So I download from your Facebook, or I don't download. Farai, the producer, emails it to me. I download it, rename it to a keyword I want, upload that.
Matt Elmer tells us.
I still think we can probably rename everything. So, like, a big push this quarter is going to be rebuilding our YouTube platform. We're building Propelio.tv on Propelio.com, where we've got a tasty trade style website where all that content can be digested from Propelio.com. If you haven't been out there yet, check out Propelio.com, Propelio.tv. But all that this quarter is going to be just basically revamped. We're going to go through YouTube, hit all the meta tags, hit all the tags, all the SEO things, rename everything, organize, systematize, and then all of our Propelio Academy videos are going to be pushed back out into YouTube as well. So we've got probably 400 or 500 videos about to get dropped.
Yeah, and as far as going pitching the YouTube, it's like we go both Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And when we first started doing YouTube Live, we got like 3 viewers, and now we're getting 15 to 20 viewers already in the past month or two. Yeah. So I personally believe our YouTube channel will overtake our Facebook probably by the end of the quarter. Yeah. At least that's what I'm saying.
I think we're heading in that direction. YouTube has been a far better platform, but we're still pulling it back.
Yeah, YouTube is definitely the best for me. What is your superpower? I'll start with Ryan.
I would say turning off noise in my brain. One thing like I don't struggle with is like depression. I mean, that's not true. Everybody struggles with some sort of depression. Everybody struggles with loneliness. Everybody struggles with whatever faults they have. Oh, I'm fat. I'm this. But me, and this is probably a clinical psychologist going to be like, dude, go see a doctor. But for me, what I do is like any of that noise, I just shut that shit down and I go back to work.
Yeah.
So like, is that healthy? Probably not. But you know what? I find success in work gives me what's the word?
Fulfillment.
Fulfillment. Yeah. So in spinning plates. I like to spin plates.
Yeah, this dude's got like 9,000 plates going full speed at any given time, and it's like, oh, look, they still don't fall. Like they're still up there. He's like, he moves his hand, and there's like still a plate spinning there. It's just like how he keeps them going, I don't know.
And again, it's like take this little Phoenix trip for us. It's like, hey, let's go hang out with Steve Trang. Well, shit, we're here. Well, he's got an event the next day. Well, let's go to that. Well, shit, AZ Flip guys, we'll hang out for Friday for that. Well, we're not big on sightseeing, and it's not like we're here with our families and we hang out with each other, but it's not like we're gonna go hang out at the spa. So it's like, well, shit, let's do our own events. So we're gonna do an event tonight. We're gonna do an event before your event tomorrow, and we're gonna do another event on Friday. Yeah. And then so literally we have no time this entire 3 day. Like out
of nowhere, he's just like, we're gonna do an event in Houston. It's like, boom, we're at Houston, Austin, or Phoenix.
We're in Phoenix, yeah.
And boom.
But I literally was like, but I had that, and this is literally like 2 weeks or however it was. I sent him a text that says, hey, do you mind if I put your ass to work when we're in Phoenix? He's like, why? What do you have in mind? I'm like, he's like, okay. And then we just go for it.
Challenge for you guys is I think our record's 70 people. So if you can get more than 70 people tomorrow at our event.
I'm not worried about that. Oh, for your event.
For our event, that's the record. So I just want to put the gauntlet down.
So everybody out there is watching right now. You must come tomorrow's event. We start at 4:30. We're gonna hit and teach some massive value.
Dave and
I
Buster's.
need to get you out there, Dave and Buster's. If we hit 80 people, I will give away something that will definitely be worth your time. I need you there. If we end up with less than 70 people, I'm going to be flat out embarrassed, and I need 70 people there. Who can I buy? Do we have any? Can you bring some day laborers? I need 70 people there.
Bring your work crew.
Yeah, bring your entire crew, your auntie, your uncle. Are we counting kids? Bring your kids. I need 70 people at Steve's event.
And on top of that, and we got our event tonight. We got about, I don't know, let me see what we're up to now. Just to see if anybody else signed up again.
All right, so while you do that, your superpower.
Vision. I think that's about the best I can say, man. If there's anything I can do, it's see 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, and build a vision that matches the life that I want to see in 10 years.
Yeah.
Build a change for, like, the industry shift that we're pushing right now. You know, the death of the guru model. I mean, there's probably been a lot of people that have talked about it, but we're putting money where our mouth is, and we're going in hard.
We're all in.
Yeah, this is going to happen 5 years from now. Propelio Academy will be the #1 resource for real estate investors to gain their education from, and I won't accept until that happens, man. It's happening.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we got about 257 signed up for tonight. I would love to get, I don't know, if I can get 150 tonight, I would be happy-ish. 300, I'd be happier. 500, I'd be happiest.
That's crazy impressive.
And then like 50 to 75 tomorrow because we're doing that workshop. But again, we're not. Our biggest thing is going back to what we're trying to do with Propelio is we want to introduce you through the value that we can bring to you, and then we want people to do business with us that share our vision, because we want lifelong customers. We don't want the one and done, and the best way to do that is do business with people you like.
All right. So last thoughts. I'll start with Ryan.
Oh, shit.
That can't be your last thought.
Oh, my last thoughts? Oh, I thought you were going to ask a question. I don't know. I would say, as far as going back to the topic at hand of Death of the Guru is just, be kind and don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Have abundance. Like, even Daniel is a little rough around the edges, but he's not an asshole.
Right.
Like in this business, there's so many people that have so much arrogance. It's like, just help each other.
Yeah.
Just chill the F out. Don't be a dick. And if you can do business with somebody, do it. If you don't, that's cool. But you don't have to be so abrasive.
Right.
And if you have the power to help people, do it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. And I don't want to be all rah moto, but I'm just tired of people being so mean to each other.
Yeah.
That being said,
but I think that's in our wholesaling, investment space.
Yeah.
But I think there's something that's going on right now in the water and across the country that this is happening too.
Yeah. Well,
So,
not to get political.
Yeah.
That's a shout out to Grant.
I think there's some interesting stuff coming down the pipeline in 2019, and I'm really hoping that Propelio's right dab in the middle of it.
What's your last thought? What would you want to leave the audience with?
What I want to leave the audience with is that if you're out there struggling and you're not making it, believe in the business, figure out what you got going on, but commit to it, get into it. It can change lives. It's completely and totally changed mine. It might not pop off for you the first time you try and do it. It might not work the second time you try and do it. But if you stay consistent with it, you're constantly learning from your failures. You apply your spare time into acquiring more knowledge and investing back into yourself. There are alternatives to what you have been historically taught in your life. You don't have to accept who you were. You have an opportunity to become something you never would have imagined. If you would have asked me 10, 15 years ago if I would own millions of dollars in real estate and be a part of this Propelio team, have helped inspire and create this team, I would have never in a million years thought that was even possible. I thought I'd be dead before I was 30. My sister died when she was 27. My brother died when he was 27. I didn't think I was making it to 30. And to hear me now at 35 years old and see this. It's all because of real estate. You know, I would have never been here without real estate, and I did it from the gutter without a dime in my back pocket, with just the help of my friends and my family and pushing forward, man. So don't give up on it. It works. You got to figure out your niche and hit it. And if you give up before you find your niche and hit it, you'll never make it.
I do have a better final thought, though.
Okay.
Now that I'm not, I actually do like the don't be a dick and be kind. But one thing about our community that we've built, or I don't want to say we took credit for building, but just putting out the field, and people have naturally done it, is the amount of business that people do with each other in our community. And that's something I forgot to mention in our events, is you go to an event, people are actually doing deals. People bring deals and they find deals. People are saving money on insurance. People are making money and doing business. You jump in on the live stream, like on one of our streams, you will see people engaging with each other saying, hey, I got a deal, who wants it? And somebody else will do it. So the amount of business that people are doing in our network is something I've never seen in all the other REIAs I've ever been to, all the other events I've ever been to. And I think that's a testament of the authenticity and the ability to put out an environment where you do have real players. Because I think real players get tired of being involved with like the scammy BS that's out there.
Yep.
So that's my real final thought. And don't be a dick.
And no shit. Okay, so we're gonna end it right there. As another reminder for you guys, if you guys need help getting ARVs or closing your deals in Phoenix, please reach out to me on Instagram. If you want a copy of our script or assignment contract, opt in on our website, realestatedisruptors.com. We're doing a monthly meetup tomorrow. We got to get 80, or Daniel's going to be disappointed in the whole audience.
I will hire temp laborers to come in just to fill up the room.
So we got the meetup tomorrow night, Dave & Buster's on Rio Salado, so in Tempe. Show up at 4:30. Every time we go, like these things are full. We got a bigger spot, so hopefully it won't get overfilled. But I wouldn't show up later, especially now that the gauntlet's been dropped. Starts at 4:30. They're going to speak at 5, and then they're going to have the floor until they're done.
It's about 12 midnight.
I'll teach all night long, man. Like I have no problems with teaching. So if y'all want to learn something, I'm an open book. I don't hold anything back. I don't have a sales training program for sale. It is straight up content.
Ryan's gonna be back with the clipboard.
I will do whatever I can to make sure you walk away feeling like you got what you came for.
Awesome.
Real quick before I'm going to interrupt your pitch, I just want to say congrats, man. You're going to be on Max Maxwell's event, and I know he booked Gary Vee. I know you're super excited to share the same stage as Gary Vee. So I just want to say congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Or at least be the first person on camera to say congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, this is what
like, badass for you.
We're talking about perspective, right? Like 8 months ago, I was like, I never would have thought this was possible. Yeah. So it's crazy, but still we're impatient. We have past these guys. On that, sign up, guys, for We Live. I want to meet you guys in person. And again, if you like this show, please share this episode right now, because a rising tide lifts all boats. I believe everyone here in this room believes in that. If someone wants to reach out to you guys, how would they do that?
Propelio.com/academy. I've got my forums in there. The forums right now are being rebuilt. I'm in beta release. I'm completely released at the end of the month. I'll be fully active in the forums. If you've got questions about real estate investing, I'll answer them there. Find me on Facebook. I just dropped a comment in there. Follow me there. Propelio.tv. You can get us there. YouTube. Get us on Facebook. Instagrams. Propelio.com. I'm out there, so just hop out there. If you want me to answer questions, though, do not hop in my DMs. Get on the Propelio forums, because my DMs straight up look like I'm a 19-year-old cheerleader. It just, man, if you want to catch me on the forums.
Yeah.
My DMs are for
I was trying to I don't know where you're going with that.
I'm sure people catch it.
Yeah, and also if you're watching our shows on Facebook or YouTube, we do them live so we can actually answer questions.
Yep.
So it's very similar to this. There's a lot of people chiming in saying hi. So
thank goodness we got Sonia answering everyone's questions.
I love Sonia is a super cheerleader for us. I mean, she had a birthday the other day. We sang her happy birthday. So
she wears your jersey.
I know.
To all our meetups.
It's a very good investment. But to have cheerleaders like Sonia is pretty badass. But we've got a lot of people chiming in, and it's really cool to have. Again, it goes back to something Gary Vee always talks about is the can you really put a price on gratitude? You know, it's kind of similar to what you were saying about changing lives. And
I showed you that message this morning. A guy I'd never really met before from Tennessee sends me a message, man. I watched your video about how to do X, Y, and Z, and I just closed my first deal, man. Thank you.
There was a comment on a YouTube video, and again, I just started a new show, and I know we're trying to wrap it up, but like with Andy Dane Carter about social media. Like, hardly anybody saw that, and it's so like, oh, that was like really good, and subtle, like not subtle, but just a quick value add. What I got most out of talking to him is don't be afraid of the stories. Like, the reason stories on Facebook and Instagram exist is so you can beat the algorithm. You know, so immediately I'm like, well, if this dude who's got 175,000 followers is telling me to get on Instagram stories, guess what? I'm going to be on stories.
You are. I've noticed.
Well, I've never done them before. I know you've done them, but again, it's being able to be trainable. Like, if somebody tells you something and they have an authority in it, like, don't be like, don't do it.
Can I add to that?
Go for it.
I would say some of the most successful people I have found in this business are the people that you would not traditionally consider to be the smart one. Because the smart people spend too much time thinking about it, and they think they're smarter than the person that they're talking to. It's the people that just take action on what they've been told. Like, hey, man, I need you to go knock doors. 5 minutes later, you're out there knocking doors. That's all you got to do.
Right.
And it's the people that take action without questioning what they're being told are the ones that truly succeed, man. And
that was my favorite people to coach.
What I was going to
coach.
Well, what I was going to say though about that YouTube video with Andy is there was a comment on there, and I was like, he's like, this is the best interview on this subject matter for real estate investors I have ever seen. I'm like, holy shit. That's the best kudos I've ever seen.
Well, he's got to share it to his 175,000 followers.
Right.
Well, we're working on it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you said at the very beginning that resonated well with me, and I'd like to add on to, and that was, you know, my goal is to make 100 millionaires or 100 millionaires. And one of the things that I've embodied over the last year is, do not judge me for the millions I've made. Judge me for the millionaires I've made. And what good is it to be filthy rich if you don't give any of that back?
Right.
You know?
100%.
So
I think that's a perfect note to end on. So, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for this.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you for flying out for this.
Absolutely,
this is awesome.
man.
And we'll
It's
see
been
you
fun.
guys tomorrow.
Tonight, tomorrow, and Friday.
Tomorrow.
We're here partying.
It's going to be a party.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank
you,
you.
man. Thank you.
Big
time.
you.
See y'all at the meetup.